Now to the latest on the closure of a Tonawanda plant that will lay off more than 1,500 employees. Sumitomo Rubber USA, which makes tires, is closing its Tonawanda location. And of course, we have team coverage for you this afternoon. Most Buffalo's Alyssa Clausell is hearing from local leaders and lawmakers about this sudden closure. But let's start with Most Buffalo's Nate Benson, who is live there with the details of that closure and how employees are reacting. So Nate, what are you hearing?
Yeah, good evening, Courtney. The word blindsided is the word I'm hearing from government sources, union sources, as well as workers who I've talked to here. 1,500 people abruptly laid off today after Sumitomo Rubber shut its doors abruptly without much detail to anybody. Let me tell you what we know so far. I'm told there was a Sumitomo board meeting on Tuesday in Japan, and that's when the final decision was made. The company says the decision was made due to the overall facility performance within the increasingly competitive international tire market. Now, what's really interesting here is the facility was already on a temporary shutdown this week. The company told workers that they had too much inventory and were going to give everybody the week paid off while they worked to offload some of those tires. That temporary shutdown started on Monday, and here we are on Thursday. The company announced the abrupt shutdown of the plant. Workers were not notified by the company until 12:15 this afternoon when an email went out to all employees, but by then word had already spread. Listen to what some of the workers I spoke with today had to say about the whole situation.
Man, I love this job. It paid good. The benefits is Christmas time. I'm very upset to be, I still wasn't notified yet. But, I see you guys out here, so I know it's the real deal. Yeah, I'm very mad about this.
How long did you work here?
I'm working on 34 years.
Other employees told me they had no clue this was happening. Were you notified at all?
No, nobody knew. They told us they were going to close for a week for inventory. They do have a excess of semi-tires. Chinese flooded the market. So we knew they had problems with that, and they were telling us that this was a way to reduce inventory instead of having to buy another warehouse.
Like I said, it's just a sad day for myself and the rest of my coworkers that worked here. Yeah. It was excellent job, life-changing. Yes, that's all I can say. I'm just speechless right now.
Yeah. Now, earlier this morning, the company hired a fencing company to bring fencing all around the property, and there was even security guards in tactical gear providing security for the upper management that was inside the building. I'm told upper management has been inside this morning and afternoon working on details of the closure, but naturally this is a devastating blow to the town of Tonawanda. 1,500 employees and a major manufacturer in town who obviously pays a lot of money in taxes, which is of course important to the town of Tonawanda. But again, devastating blow after Sumitomo Rubber abruptly announcing its closure today. We have a lot more details, a lot more questions about the timing of this closure, who knew what and when. We're going to be digging into that, and I'm still getting fed a lot of information by sources inside the union, workers who are working here who might have more details, and we'll provide those updates shortly. But for now, live in Tonawanda, on your side, Nate Benson. Courtney, back to you in the studio.
All right, Nate, thanks so much. You'll keep us updated. From workers to elected officials, there's a lot of reaction coming in about the plant closing. Governor Kathy Hochul's office released a statement to us saying, in part, quote, "The governor is committed to using every tool in the state's arsenal to support the more than 1,500 workers and their families impacted by this closure," which is why she has directed the New York State Department of Labor to activate its rapid response team to provide immediate resources to these employees that will help them find new jobs and ways to support their families, end quote. And we are also getting reaction at the local level. Most Buffalo's Alyssa Clausell continues our team coverage with that part of the story. Alyssa, what are you hearing from local leaders about this?
Well, Courtney, much like plant workers, local government officials are now also expressing their outrage and frustration with the seemingly sudden and abrupt closure of the site here, especially after millions of dollars of investment since they took over the plant years ago. And when we're talking about investment here, let's just lay it out really quick. Since Sumitomo took over in 2015, Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz laid it out pretty clearly in a statement he shared with our newsroom. He cited the sales and property tax incentives Erie County provided in 2017 and then again in 2021. He said, quote, "Erie County government will continue to do all that they can to keep the plant opening, signaling that there is hope that to somehow salvage those thousands of jobs. Also speaking out today, Assemblymember Bill Conrad. This is, of course, his district, and he's echoing the same promise of somehow finding a way to salvage the plant, but the chances for that are already looking pretty slim.
From what we're hearing, this board made their decision, and it's going to be an uphill battle. So we're reaching out to all our partners across the state, federal, both parties, trying to get some response, and we're moving it up all the way to the Biden administration, whoever, to make sure that we could do something to save this plant or find a new buyer and do something.
We're also hearing from Senator Sean Ryan, who has called this situation heartbreaking news, vowing to work with partners to find a solution. And Town Supervisor Joe Eminger today saying the town stands with the over 1,500 workers now out of a job. Now, with all of these local government leaders speaking out, they're going to have to work with the Department of Labor to make sure that all severance packages and benefits are met, because there's supposed to be a certain threshold of notice for things like this, and it clearly was not met today. But we'll keep track of that. Live and on your side in Tonawanda, Alyssa Clausell, Channel 2 News.
All right, Alyssa, thank you. And of course, we'll have more coverage as we go throughout our newscast. But